Welcome back to In Their Boots. With us now is this week's expert, Dr. Judith Broder. She's the founder and director of the Soldiers Project, an organization that provides free psychological counseling for those who have served in Afghanistan and Iraq, as well as their families. Dr. Broder, welcome back to the program.
Thank you for having me again.
Wouldn't miss it. Before we get started here with the interview, I want to share with you a clip, a supplemental piece from this week's Real Story. We'll show that now.
Tasha, I really do miss you a lot. Think about you every day. I just can't wait to come home, be with you again, be by you again. My love for you grows every day. You're always on my mind. What I think about all day long, you're what I dream about too. All I knew is I was making death threats to my small child and yelling at my wife and getting in altercations with people and trying to fight people and just being an all-around jerk that I wasn't, that I never used to be.
Doctor, I think it's hard to believe that anyone could change this much, but from the clip, we see that it's a reality. Can you explain to the American public what type of changes are taking place inside the service member?
Inside this young man, there are a number of things that have taken place and are taking place. One set of things have to do with the fact that he is experiencing the aftermaths of combat stress. The second has to do with the fact that he has had a traumatic brain injury as a consequence of being in a blast. This causes actual changes within his brain that mostly show their effects psychologically. So when he talks about his anger and how his whole relationship to his family has changed, those things are a direct result of the stress injury and the traumatic brain injury.
Can you explain some of the changes that unfold inside of a family and a marriage when a loved one comes home changed like this?
I think this show demonstrates something that is very, very, very common, that these are often young people who go off to war with young wives or husbands. They're looking forward to a future based on what they've known about the person before. When someone sees combat, he or she comes back changed no matter what. And when a wife is left at home raising kids on her own, she is changed no matter what. This is not pathological. This is ordinary. It's extraordinary because it's a combat situation. But these are not signs of illnesses in either the wives or the husbands or the families, but rather how people make an adjustment to big changes in their spouses. And this happens over and over and over again. This is a very dramatic story because both of these people are heroic in their own way, and as many of the families are who have to experience this coming home from a combat situation forever changed.
What are some of the effects on the children when the parents in a family are under such pressure?
The effects on the kids can be pretty far-reaching. It always depends on the age of the children, and kids at different ages are affected in different ways. Some of the things that happen are that children often develop physical complaints, headaches and stomach aches, and they just don't feel well. It's a way of expressing their upset when they don't have words to use. Other things that happen is that kids may get very aggressive. Quiet kids who were once well-behaved and did well in school may start to act up in school and not be able to concentrate. Teenagers also can start acting out, or they just disengage from a family that is in such distress.
Well, when a family starts to recognize these symptoms, how can they go about addressing them? Someone that's in a similar situation to the Massiminos, what's their first step in the direction towards help?
I would say the very first step is to go to Veterans Administration, because they have outstanding programs, from what I understand, that address the issues that have to do with people who have experienced traumatic brain injuries. They have polytrauma centers that I believe also work with the families. If it is difficult to access that care, then it's essential to try to find help elsewhere. The vet centers also offer services. Of course, we do at the Soldiers Project offer services, and what's unique about us is that our services are completely free and unlimited, and usually we can start working with a family within a day or two of the time they call us. The limitation for us is that we don't have therapists throughout the country, and we're working on that, but we haven't got there yet.
Well, Doctor, we want to thank you for taking the time to discuss such a pervasive issue that affects many military families today. And also thank you for your efforts with the Soldiers Project. And it's such a unique and necessary initiative. And I'm sure the lives you impact are hard to number.
Well, thank you so much for having me back.
Thank you, Doctor. I'm sure we'll talk to you again.
Okay, you're welcome.
Bye. If you check out the Solutions tab on our website, you'll find a link to Dr. Broder's organization, the Soldiers Project, along with many others. But now, we're going to move on and show you a preview from next week's Real Story, the conclusion in Chapter 2 of When He Came Home. Here it is.
His PTSD had grown and grown and grown. I was talking to a really good friend of ours, and she said, it sounds like he's had a little traumatic brain injury too. Has he ever hit his head?
TBI alone is really bad. PTSD alone is really bad. But when you have both, they triple each other.
So I sometimes compare it, it's like battered wife syndrome. I keep coming back for more. But the difference is that he's not doing it on purpose. And unfortunately, it's just gonna take time for him to come out of it.
My wife's my biggest supporter in that she just constantly pushing me to strive for more.
Here at In Their Boots, we like to build an online community. So if you have any suggestions or comments about this episode or past, post them to our website. And if you've taken interest in the stories we told here, issues that were raised, and you'd like to raise awareness in your area, take advantage of our video library and email these clips to local media, community groups, or anyone you think might benefit. And if it's questions you've got, send them our way to question@intheirboots.com, and we'll do our best to get them answered. Well, that's it for this show. We'll see you back here next Wednesday for another episode. Until then, take care.
And, you know, we already have a house full of kids and animals, and we have a pretty busy life. I like to say that he's kind of like Alzheimer's, whereas they pick a moment in time, and that's as far as they go. With TBI, they pick a topic or an area, and his just happens to be animals and his love for them.